Are you sure you saw those clowns from the legend? Maybe some pranksters were making another commercial? Samantha asked incredulously, reluctant to get out of the car. I definitely saw those clowns. The prancers wouldn't be there. It's not a good place, James insisted. Like all abandoned places. What do you know? James checked the camera and moved toward the abandoned motel. Did you at least bring any weapons, just in case? Samantha shouted after him. Of course I did. But I was counting on you to be my main weapon, he joked. Of course he hadn't brought any. Jerk. Samantha had no intention of going to that motel. She didn't believe in urban legends. She thought they were just scary stories for kids, especially about abandoned places. But Jacob's motel had a different atmosphere. Samantha comforted herself with the fact that such sites always had such an unpleasant atmosphere. But having been to various such places, she didn't feel as horrified as she did in front of this motel. By the way, a little about this motel. It opened in the distant past, in the early 20th century, nearly the oldest building in the city. Even back then, it was not known for its good reputation. The motel became a refuge for various marginalized individuals. Rumors suggested that even Charles Manson himself had stayed there, but it wasn't true. In the 70s, the motel closed for unknown reasons, becoming the source of many different urban legends. Ghosts, various creatures, maniacs, and all sorts of other evil. Who hadn't been there? The only most popular urban legend was about the clowns. It's unknown where it all began. Tales about strange individuals in clown costumes permanently dwelling in an abandoned motel just spread. Someone claimed to have seen them in the middle of the night, as they usually did, and it started. It wasn't until word got out about the clowns in the motel that people started finding dead bodies there as well. Homeless, random people, and the curious. Some even had cameras with footage which had made its way onto the net, causing a lot of never-ending controversy. Was it real or staged? Samantha knew about it, but tried not to think about such things. Of course, she was worried about James, but the motel scared her more. It was like the building itself was alive, without any monsters or creepy clowns. Damn it! She gave up. Her feelings took over, and she got out of the car. She had to find James before he got into trouble. In the meantime, James wandered around the first floor of the motel, looking into the open rooms. Of course, there wasn't much to see. All the rooms were empty, dirty, and dusty. Some still held the belongings of the last guests. James even found a room with a pair of vibrators under the bed, the most interesting find. Nothing else, just the usual stuff. The second floor was pretty much the same, but a few rooms at the end of the hallway had open doors. James slowed his step, pointing the camera toward the open rooms. Luckily, the camera had a night mode. It was too dark. James kept lamenting the fact that he'd forgotten the most important thing, a flashlight. He had to use the pitiful semblance of a flashlight on his prehistoric phone. A couple steps to the end of the corridor, and suddenly there was loud laughter coming from the open rooms. Footsteps followed the laughter. Someone in a clown outfit emerged from the room. A shabby costume, poorly applied makeup, and a red nose hanging from a string behind his ear. The man himself seemed strangely sad. He hid his hands behind his back as he regarded James, swaying slightly. "Hello," James spoke softly, afraid to approach the clown. The clown did not react, continuing to stand in one place. They stood like that for several long minutes until the clown showed his hands, a heavy hammer with a rusty metal head. James flinched at the sight of such a powerful implement and began to back away. The clown came toward him, waving the tool. The guy turned around and ran for the exit. The camera fell out of his hands. Only the flashlight remained. Before James could reach the stairs, a brick flew into his head. He grabbed the railing, but because of the to his head, he flipped over and fell flat on his face. One of the rooms that was previously closed is occupied. A clown with bright makeup and a red wig runs out of his hiding place, jumps up the stairwell, picks up the brick he threw at James, and starts hitting him on the head with it. A sad clown appeared. He looked at his partner resentfully, pouting his lips, and the red-haired clown didn't notice him until he had turned the guy's head to mush. Only then did he turn his attention to his fellow clown and spread his hands. The sad clown stomped his foot and went back to his room, muttering something to himself. "James, where are you?" Samantha shouted, tripping over everything in sight. She was already regretting coming here at all. She'd been for her boyfriend for several minutes, but he hadn't answered. It's a small motel. He must have heard her screaming. Damn it, James. This isn't funny anymore. Samantha mumbled and turned around. Just as she took a step, a silhouette appeared in the passage. Samantha looked closely, but she couldn't see much in the darkness. All she could see were baggy pants, a round build, and a cap. The silhouette had a very short stature, making it look like a child was standing there. "Hey, who's there?" Samantha walked up the aisle with an easy gait, trying not to fall down. The silhouette stood motionless as the girl came a little closer to it. Only then, with a wild shout, did someone run at her, throwing his hands up in the air. The last thing Samantha saw was a very short clown with a devilish grin, revealing a row of teeth and an axe in his hands.